All right, welcome everybody. My name is Dean Hawkins. I'm the principal at Wilson Middle School. It is 6:33. We're just going to give it a couple minutes here. We have about 70 people and we're just going to see if we can get that to 100 or so. We are recording this, so we will make sure this is available. I'll send it out by email tomorrow and we'll put it on our website so that people who could not make it will get a chance to do that. I also have Kurt Zalke here, Jenny Halowski, and Mr. Turnbull's helping us run the show tonight. So we'll just give it another minute here. While we're waiting, I'll just let you know that there is a 20-second delay in the presentation. It's just the way the program is set up. So when we get to the question and answers, we ask that you put it into the chat box. I think you can see my screen maybe or not. But the chat box is just at the top. You click on the chat there and you can write in any questions, and at the very end we will answer those questions. So we'll give it one more minute here and see if we can get up to maybe 90 people. If you didn't hear tonight, there was an announcement by the provincial government that our grade 6s will be in school, but our grade 7s and 8s will be at home learning for the next 2 weeks, which would be from May 3rd all the way, looks like it would be till about the 17th, and then a decision will be made after that. So I think we're going to get going, and we'll, like I say, make this available. So one of the things that we really strive to make sure that everyone knows is we have a vision and a mission, and we worked really hard to make this very, let's say, easy for people to remember and easy for kids to try to tackle. And so our vision is hope, dream, conquer, and our mission is through the Wilson Way. We have hope for tomorrow, we dream for our possibilities, and we conquer through perseverance. And we have something called the Wilson Way, which is kind of our character education program. It's also kind of our, we have a very multicultural school here. And it's one of the ways that we try to make sure that everybody's working together in understanding the different cultures, understanding everybody's needs, and obviously being good citizens and fair, responsible, respecting each other, being compassionate. Obviously, there's days and years like this one where we need to persevere and to trust everybody, and we do that through honesty and compassion. And so what we did is we made a committee in 2015. We made sure that the committee had some community members in it. We had a couple people that live across the street that joined us. We had a number of school council members on our committee. We had students, and then we had staff. And we made sure that everybody knew that they all have a part to play in our mission and our vision. And so you can see that the students can live out their hopes, realize their dreams, and conquer obstacles through the Wilson Way by developing confidence and respecting themselves and others, increasing academic and social skills to contribute to society, explore real life skills to prepare for the future, and taking pride in themselves and their school. Now, in middle school, when you come into grade 6, 7, and 8, this is the time of their life where they really, they get to experience who they are and who they want to be and who their friends are and who their friends will be as they move into high school. And so it's important that we focus on our vision and mission throughout their time in middle school. And we find that a lot of the things that we learn, and we have a lot of patience when we're in middle school because a lot of the kids just need to know that it's going to be okay to make mistakes. That's the number one thing. And I know that wasn't how it was before when we grew up, but it is now. Not everything is going to be a punishment or a consequence. We give lots of chances here. But, you know, the biggest thing is that when they leave for grade 8 and they're moving to grade 9 is that they're ready. They know who their friends are going to be and they're ready academically to tackle high school. So we'll move to the next slide there. One of the things which takes us into one of the most important things that's never on any of our supply lists is a cell phone. And I know that every single student wants to have a cell phone. We want kids to have a cell phone, but we want kids to have a cell phone and know how to use the cell phone. A lot of our kids have cell phones, and 99% of our problems come from cell phones, and it usually actually does not come from school. It usually comes from at night, Snapchat, a number of other things that they're using on their phones. And, you know, that part is part of learning when you get through middle school as well, but it's not something that we like to deal with at school, because we like to focus solely on academics when they're here, as well as building relationships and having positive experiences. So we do have a cell phone policy. One of the things we've made clear in the last 2 to 3 years is that videoing, there is a thing called FOIP, and a lot of kids like to video. So there are instances where people will try to video somebody or something, and we've made it very clear you will get a student handbook as you come into grade 6, and we'll usually get that to you in August. And in that student handbook, it clearly indicates that students who are not using their cell phones will be asked not to bring their cell phone, or it'll be taken away. And one of the biggest things is videoing other people without permission. And a lot of kids think that just because they sit beside someone and they classify them as their friend, they can do whatever they want, but you actually cannot do that. And so we make that very clear. We go through all of these things, and sometimes we go through them many times throughout the year. And so that's just something that you do with kids who are growing up and they're 13, 14, 12, 13, 14 years old. We'll continue on to the next one. So Wilson Way, what we like to do is focus on character education. And right now we've done that throughout the 8 years. This is going to be moving on to my 9th year at Wilson Middle School. I was here for when we started the Wilson Way, and it's really changed quite a bit as we went along. At one point we had a specific option where we did a 6-week option on the Wilson Way. And then the students were starting to catch on to how we were doing things, and it wasn't going as well as we thought. And this year we kind of focused, our biggest focus is literacy numeracy with our core teachers, and then our phys ed and our option teachers have taken on the Wilson Way in teaching that during homeroom and in gym class and through health. And so we focus a word a month, and we try to make sure that we're teaching what we preach, and we're showing kids. And so those are just the words of the month. And, you know, I think we do a pretty good job. We try to, you know, Remembrance Day is in November, so we talk about respect and how that, you try to make it real life. And so that everything that we do with the Wilson Way is stuff that they're going to see every single day in their life. And so that it becomes real to them and not just a program. This was developed by the staff, students and the parents. And so, you know, we didn't buy a program. And then what we do every year is we adjust it. We look at our accountability pillar, which is now moved to what's called an assurance survey. So we look at our survey results, and if we're not doing well, then we change things. And so we changed things this year, and that's kind of what it looks like. So what does a typical day in middle school look like? So you come into Wilson, and you have a homeroom to start your day, and that's your first 20 minutes. I think everybody thinks you're coming to a big school, you're going to have lots and lots of teachers, and that's not really how we do things. You primarily have 2 core teachers, so period 1 and 2 is your math science, and you get a 5-minute break, and then you have your LA social, and then you get a 36-minute lunch, and then you move into your enrichment option and your complementary option. Right now, we have a cohort. And so with the cohort, your teacher, who's your homeroom teacher, and that's right at the very beginning of your day, also teaches your option. So really you have about 4 teachers, because you have a different phys ed teacher for some classes. And that sounds like, from our meeting today, is how we're going to start for term 1. And so you'll still get the options that you'll see here. You'll still get some of the options that you've picked, but you won't get all of them to start. But we're hoping with COVID that by term 2, we can run more of a middle school philosophy where you're getting to go throughout the building and do different options. Right now, you might get a foods option and go to foods, but your complementary option might be in your classroom. And so that's kind of what it looks like. And your cohort is set up so that if somebody did have a positive case, only that class and only those teachers go home. And so that's kind of what a typical day looks like for grade 6. All right, I'm going to give you a little tour of what our school looks like. I think it's only about 7 or 8 minutes, eh, Mr. Zalke? What does it say on there?
Yeah, maybe not even that long. Maybe like 5 minutes or so.
Okay, so this will give you, usually when we're not in a situation we are now, we would actually tour you through our building, and we'd have staff here and you get to meet everybody and we take you for a tour. So we're going to do that online, and then we're going to come back and I'm going to show you what doors you'll go into and all that sort of fun stuff. So take it away. Oh, I don't have any volume.
Not at all?
Nope.
Oh, interesting. Give me 2 seconds.
Okay. Get a picture of the good-looking principal there.
All right, my name's Dean Hawkins, principal at Wilson Middle School, here to tell you a little bit about our modernization and some neat things that we have within our building. When you walk into our building, you're going to come into a wide open area where we have a place where kids can hang out and enjoy the morning. Holds about 650 students. You walk through the main area, you turn right and you'll walk into the Learning Commons, which normally was called the library before, and it's a wide open area where kids can go in and get books and feel comfortable reading wherever they want to read. Also lots of learning areas within that. So we have our student assistance room available for students who either miss some school and need to catch up on some work, and they can come down and do that. And when you walk further down our large Learning Commons area, you'll see the cafeteria. When you walk into the cafeteria, you walk into the school, you can smell the cafeteria from the beginning. And that's where all the kids, we have breakfast available for kids, we have lunch available for kids, and then some snacks in the afternoon. And they're able to do that during their break times. When you turn right after the cafeteria, you'll come into our gymnasium, and the gymnasium is an area where we also have our drama center. So the stage is the drama center, and the gym is fully brand new gym with complete, fully furnished new floor, new lines. Walls are bright. We got fans and air conditioning in the gym. Just a very comfortable area that's welcoming, showing our school pride, and it's a pretty awesome gymnasium with all brand new backboards that are glass and gives the kids a sense of pride. Walking onto the stage where we have our drama center, that's where we'll be doing our drama productions and our Remembrance Day assemblies and band performances. And so we're pretty proud of that area as well. And we'll be showcasing that a little bit when we do our grand opening on Thursday. When you go through the gym into our Learning Commons area, you'll see the new shop. And then beside that is the band. And so when you walk into the shop, there's an area where the kids get to keep their projects, have their glasses and their earphones or earmuffs so that they will walk in to then the classroom from there. They'll get their instruction and then safety course, and then from there they'll walk into the shop, which is probably double the shop that we had before. We have a nice CNN machine in there, a lot of new technology that the kids get to use. So when they go into the classroom, they can use one of the 8 or 9 computers there, do some drafting, draft out their assignment, and then they can plug that into the CNN machine, and then they'll be able to create their project, which is pretty cool. So there's lots of other stuff within the shop that was always there before, but just gives more room for kids to move, more room to do projects, and so we're pretty happy about how the shop turned out. When you come out of the shop and you go back into that learning commons, that's a grade 8 learning common area, and in there you'll have a TV that's connected with the gym. There's a huge video wall in the gym that will be connected to all of the common areas, and I forgot to say that when we were in the gym. So that video wall is there for drama performances, for basketball, volleyball, badminton events. It's also there for our assemblies so that we can increase the engagement for kids throughout, and we can video stream our basketball and volleyball, badminton events that we have. We'll go back to where we are in that grade 8 learning commons, and then you go into the band room, which is all fully refurnished and finished with some breakout rooms for kids who are wanting to do some band testing and some rock band stuff for singing, and we have 5 rock bands right now that are going on. So the kids use those so that we separate and they can work quietly within those rooms. Outside, we have some pretty cool things that we put in over the summer. We have 2 outdoor fitness areas that the kids have been totally engaged in, and then we built a 6-court basketball court, and so that's just packed every single day and has really turned the feel around of our school and given kids lots of opportunities for things to do before school, after school, and during lunch hour. So one of the biggest things that you see in kids right now is the pride they have when they walk in. The parents and kids say, oh, this is kind of like a university. This isn't like a middle school. So they really get that pride that they're in a really special place and that we've really built them a building where they can work, they can have fun, and they can collaborate together in a really awesome environment. And you can feel it throughout the building. You can feel it at lunch when kids are, can I go to this fitness area? Can I go to that one? And we've really opened it up to give them the opportunity to have more individualized say in where they're going. And so they have choices, which they never had before, and it's really empowered them. So we're pretty happy with what we've built in this community.
Okay, so that was our video. So we actually made that video when we opened, but it's works pretty good for COVID, I guess you could say, to give you a good tour. So we open at 7:45. Our buses usually come at 7:50 to 7:52. We'll start doing announcements at 7:55. And these are some important areas that you'll need to know when you come in. So we try to make sure that all the students have a separate entrance, especially for COVID. It sounds like when we start in September, we'll probably do that for term 1. Hopefully by then we have enough people in the province vaccinated, we can move on for term 2. But it sounds like from our meetings today, we'll start this way. So this is what we call a drop-off zone. So we took out all of the ability for people to park here. So you'll drive in, and I believe it's 20th Street, which it says right there. You just drive up, you drop off, they get out, and you just keep driving. And you drive up as far as you can, drop off, keep driving. Works so smooth. I'm very lucky to have that. And so then the kids would just follow the purple line. Obviously, this is the parking lot. It takes a couple days just to understand that you have staff coming in and out, and we don't, you know, we all know that it's not safe to walk through there because you don't want, so we just come here, come through the sidewalk here up to your grade 6 door. And it works really well because that's called our courtyard. And so you're going to go through there. We did have one grade 6 class that was on the other end of the school, but we don't need to talk about that because I don't believe we're going to have that next year. You're all going to be in this one wing. And so obviously we'll focus on that. Okay, supervision is available inside during the morning and outside at lunch. The admin does the supervision in the morning outside. So you'll see I usually am out there with some other staff, but circle around the school in the morning, make sure all the kids are here. We've got Mr. Zalki does the bus stuff and the bus supervision, so we make sure that everybody's in. And then after school, we have 3 or 4 of us outside circling around to make sure kids are on their way and everybody feels safe when they're here. We are a closed campus. You've seen the cafeteria, and that's why, in order to have a nice cafeteria like that, among other reasons, we did have some people going to 7-Eleven on a daily basis, and then they were always late for class. And actually, we had a couple kids that were, that got hit by a car there. So it was just better to keep it as a closed campus. And we were fortunate enough to get Munchies. That's the name of the company that does our cafeteria, and they make all homemade food. And so it's great to have them here, and it works out great for us because you only get 36 minutes. So it goes pretty quick. They eat for 16. Is it 36 minutes, Jenny, or is it 32?
32 next year.
Okay, sorry. I don't want to tell you so we got 16 minutes to eat and 16 minutes outside, and that's daily. And so that's kind of the cafeteria and the closed campus put into one. With COVID, we haven't used lockers this year. And hopefully for term 2, we'll be able to do that next year. I'm not sure about term 1 yet, which is not a bad thing. It's pretty good to get in your class, get comfortable. It also gives you a month or so to get ready to use the lockers, and it makes it way less stressful because a lot of the times the biggest stress for kids in grade 6 is the lockers because they've never had one. So we'll probably focus on term 2, trying to get those locks and lockers figured out so you don't have to worry about that. So that should be stress-free for everybody. And like I said, we start with announcements at 7:55 and our school starts at 8. And our school, we just had a switch just actually yesterday, so we didn't update that, but we will be going to 2:45 now because the bus schedule changed. And then school ends on Wednesday. Yeah, so we didn't update that one. Sorry, guys. The school ends at 1:55 now, and then on Friday we go till 12:25.
Sorry,
So,
1 o'clock on Wednesdays.
Oh yes, sorry. That changed yesterday too. So a little bit of changes there, and you will get, and you probably already know all this because I sent you the bell schedule yesterday. So you would have got 2:45, and then the school ends on Wednesdays at 1, and then 12:25 on Fridays. And you have the exact bell schedule that we'll be using already. So sorry, we should have updated our one slide there. Okay, Miss Halowski is going to take you through some of the things that she does. Then Mr. Zelke is going to take you through some of his responsibilities, and then I'll be back with you here in a bit.
Thanks, Mr. Hawkins. So just kind of student services and learning team are sort of combined here. So we have a great team here that supports students in all their learning. And so we have 2 learning support teachers right now. We have Mr. Turnbull and we have Mrs. Tyslow. And so Mr. Turnbull runs our student assisted instructional center. And that's where students can go up and get a little bit of extra help or some small group instruction when they need. Mr. Turnbull also works really closely with our teachers in trying to meet the learning needs of our students in our classes. And then Mrs. Tyslow, she's the teacher in our learning support class, and so she works with some of our students who require some more intensive supports throughout the day and helps them in meeting their individual learning goals. And integral part of that team is also our EA support team, who we have a great group of EAs here who work with our students and our teachers in trying to meet the learning needs of all of our students and ensuring that all of our students can find success on an individual level while they're here at Wilson. Kind of tied in with that, we also make sure that we students who need those instructional support plans have those developed for them, and so our teachers work really well on those, as well as our ELL benchmarking to meet the needs of our English language learners to ensure that we're understanding where they're at and where we can move forward with them. So we have some great programs here and some great individuals who support our students as we move forward with that. Part of Wilson that's really integral has been our fine arts program, and unfortunately last year and this year we weren't able to have our collage of the arts due to COVID, but We have some fantastic individuals on staff who come together each and every year to provide students who have desire to develop their talents in the fine arts, and whether that be through acting, just basic art. We also have our music programs. We have a lot of opportunities for students to develop their talents and skills outside of whether it be sports and just academics. And so fingers crossed next year, hopefully we can get back to potentially doing some collage of the arts stuff. And so, you know, if that's where your interests lie, I would encourage you to continue to keep your eyes open and listen for announcements as opportunities come up to engage in those opportunities, whether it be in class or co-curricular opportunities for students to engage in. So, Mr. Zelke.
Yeah, I'll jump right in. So my name is Mr. Zelke. I'm one of the vice principals here at Wilson. One of the things that I help out with here is athletics, and as Ms. Holowski mentioned, with fine arts, you know, the last little bit of last year, and then as well as this year, in terms of sports teams and things like that, we haven't been able to, unfortunately, participate in a ton of athletics in terms of sports and everything yet. But, you know, that's obviously something we're hoping to be able to do next year. There's a lot of questions around athletics, but, you know, really, as we saw today, I think it depends on the provincial government and sort of how we're doing within our community. And we also rely on the board to really, you know, provide guidance in terms of what athletics we can do safely within the schools. That being said, as we're able to do athletics, there's certainly lots of opportunities for everyone at Wilson, which is the amazing thing at Wilson here. So if you are a competitive basketball player, or you just want to go and maybe join a basketball club and work on your skills and have a little bit of fun, or volleyball, you know, lots and lots of different sports opportunities for you here. And so we're hoping we can get started with that as early as the fall, but just a little bit of uncertainty at this point. But I do help out with the athletics here. Fundraising, again, if you had an older sibling come to Wilson, or one of your older children came to Wilson, you might remember the coupon books and things like that. This year, we've still been able to do a little bit of fundraising, but we just wanted to keep it manageable for a lot of our families during a, you know, a global pandemic. So we've done a few things like partnering up with Ben's Beef Jerky in town and Colonel's and that sort of thing. For sort of a monthly fundraiser, and then a recurring fundraiser. We're kind of looking at some pizza nights where you can get a discount on ordering pizza for your family. And then also we just started a coffee fundraiser here at Wilson, and tea and some other things. And so that can be offered potentially monthly as well. So look out for some fundraising news, I guess, closer to the fall. Busing. So busing operates very similar here as it does in any other school within the division. So currently, if you're attending Wilson next year, if you live 2.4 kilometers away or farther on the north side here, you would qualify for busing. That's how it works right now. I work pretty closely with the transportation coordinator and now Southland, who we just recently switched from City of Lethbridge to Southland as the company that runs the busing, and so just working closely with them to ensure we can get students on the bus and at school every single day. And so if you have any questions about busing, I'll be the person to sort of talk you through that next year, and we'll definitely look forward to working with you on that. We also have Wilson clothing orders, usually a couple times a year, and so I'll talk about that actually a little bit later on today, but we just opened up our spring order, and so I will share the link with you later on today. And so if you're looking to get some Wilson swag and clothing here so that your child has it for the fall when they come to Wilson, that's definitely you know, available to you. And then we will do another one early on in the fall, so you'll get another opportunity with maybe some other items at that time. And then clubs and extracurricular, as I mentioned, I mean, we're hoping obviously to offer a bunch of these opportunities, whether it's a club that's, you know, something like sports or robotics or something like that. I know in the past, Mr. Turnbull's taken a group of students to Edmonton for robotics, and so we're certainly eager to jump into as many clubs as we can safely. That being said, again, we do need to sort of just wait to hear from the province and the board and see, you know, what kind of opportunities we can provide. to all the students, but we're certainly excited to do what we can next year. And if you have any questions about that stuff later on, I'm happy to answer them as well. So I think that's it for me for now.
Perfect. Thanks, Mr. Zelke. So just here at our school, we have some lead teachers, and they work kind of as a liaison between the admin team here at Wilson and their teaching teams. And so for next year, our grade 6 lead teachers are going to be Mr. Dewick and Ms. Wazelenko. Grade 7 will be Ms. Huchelak and Mr. Ellis-Toddington. Grade 8 will be Mrs. Archibald and Mr. Preet. And then our options lead teacher is going to be Mr. Wrestler. He's our shop teacher. And Mr. Cody Hall will be our athletics lead teacher. We also have a great wellness team here, and so they work really well to support the social emotional needs of our students at Wilson to, you know, help them make sure things go smoothly here for them. So Donna Stadoka is our teacher counselor, and she works mostly with our grade 8 students at Wilson. And then Mr. Donahue Lawrence is our family school liaison counselor, and he works with all of our students, but really closely with our grade 7 students, and sometimes with some other students who need some interventions that Mr. Lawrence is skilled at offering. We have Miss Juanita Kaminsky, and she's our student support worker, and she works with all of our grade 6 students quite closely down in that hallway and provides a great support onto them. And then Ann Kish is one of the family support workers for our division, but she specifically works with the families here at Wilson. So we're really excited to have Ann back working with our families. We also have our school resource officer, Constable Tebow, and so students will get used to kind of seeing him in our hallways and working with them, and sometimes he'll just come in and introduce himself. Sometimes he may have to work more closely with students in certain situations. So he supports our school community closely on a weekly basis here at Wilson. And then kind of the really important people in our office would be our admin support team. So we have 2 great people here who support us. And so Jen Schroeder is our admin assistant, and Crystal Kranzler Boshan is our admin support. And so they keep us on track and help out with a lot of important things here. And so we just, you know, anytime you have the opportunity to interact with these ladies, we just really work hard to treat them kindly and do our best because they're doing their best. There's lots of phones ringing every single day here at Wilson. And now the doorbell they got to answer, they're just on top of things. And so we definitely appreciate all that these ladies do for us here at Wilson.
Mr. Hawkins, you're muted there.
Yeah, so here we go. I have to do that at least once a day, if not more than once. So sorry about that. So at Wilson, we are cashless school. So it doesn't matter if it's a fundraiser, if you're buying stuff through the online store, if you're buying stuff for your options, or if you're buying school supplies, yearbook, everything is done through School Cash Online, and most of you do that now anyway. So no different than before. But you would just go to Wilson Middle School website, hit School Cash Online, plug in your account information, and away you go. Also, one of the good things that we like to promote before kids get to grade 8 is to make sure that not just parents have a power school, but the students do. That is one reason that it is nice to have their phone. By the time they get to grade 8, they want to have their power school already and working. First of all, you get to see your grades on a daily basis and comments from your teachers. Then when you get to go to Winston Churchill, in order to pick your options, you need to have a power school account for the students. So very important all around. Also,
can I just jump in on that, Mr. Hawkins?
Yeah, you bet you can.
Sorry, just with Power School as well, we don't do any paper report cards here at Wilson. So all of our report cards are live and updated, you know, on Power School, and so it's live feedback. And so we always encourage parents to have a Power School account so you can get the live feedback in regards to grades for your students and keep updated. We don't wait until the end of November for you to get a paper copy of a report card to find out how your student's doing in a class. We want you to have that live real-time feedback weekly, sometimes daily, as the students progress in different classes. we also do our online option registration through Power School. So that's actually going to open up on Monday here for our students. So if you don't have a Power School account, students will be able to use their own ID and password, but we always encourage parents to go in and look at the options their students have selected, as there are sometimes fees attached, and you know your student and you want to make sure that they're picking classes that they're going to be interested in taking. So we always do encourage parents to have those Power School accounts for that as well.
Excellent. We have a very active school council. Our AGM will be Wednesday, September the 8th. Right now, we've had about 15 to 20 people active this year on our school council. We were able to do a casino this year, and we did benefit from that. I think we got close to $25,000 even in COVID. Normally you get around 35 to 40, but we were very happy to have that success in that type of fundraising this year. And we've already put ourselves in the draw for a casino, and hopefully two years down the road we'll be doing another one. So move to the next slide.
And I'll jump in here real quick. If you have your phone handy and you're watching on a computer or another screen, you have a couple QR codes, so you can easily follow us here on social media. I also have the clothing store there. So if you scan that top code, obviously that'll be our Twitter, and you can follow us on Twitter. The next one, obviously the Facebook logo there. You can follow us on or join our Facebook page and get updates there as well. And then that third one is the clothing store that I mentioned. We tried to keep all the clothing options as affordable as we could there. So, you know, just browse through, and if there's anything you see and you want some swag for the fall, then feel free to grab it. If you don't have another device, if you're on a cell phone or something like that, I will put these links in the chat in a few minutes here after I'm done sharing my screen. So I'll give you maybe another 10 seconds or so just to scan those, and then we'll move on. And Mr. Hawkins, you can take over.
All right, so one of the final things, we've got a couple more things left here, but you know, we really look forward to having your children attending Wilson Middle School. We've done so much work here to make Wilson just an awesome place for kids to be, to learn, to grow, and to have fun, and to become young adults ready for high school. So we're excited. We love having your kids here. You know, we do things, you know, with character, and we expect kids to do that as well when they come. And we as adults show that every day, and we're excited to have your kids coming to our school. I think we have a grade 6 introduction video. So we have some of our grade 6 teachers who are working now, and most of them who could be back in the fall. Just going to introduce themselves here real quickly to you so the kids get to know a little bit about them.
I'm Jessica Gunderson, and I teach LA and social studies. And an interesting fact about me is that I'm 6 foot tall, and I am the shortest in my family. I have 2 brothers that are 7 foot and 7 foot 2.
Hello, my name is Mr. Tebow. I teach grade 6 math and science, and one, I guess, interesting thing about me is that I've been teaching at Wilson for 30 years now, and I'm still enjoying it. Take care.
Hey guys, my name is Mr. Pater. I teach math and science, and something that I love to do is to go to BC on the weekends and go camping and hiking and swimming and stuff like that. So looking forward to meeting you guys. Take care.
Hi, I'm Miss Berenger, and I teach grade 6 LA Social and Option. Some of the things I like to do in my off time is I like to go hiking in the mountains in Waterton and practice ukulele.
Hey, my name's Mr. DiMartini. I teach LA and Social, and one cool fact about me is that I am a massive hockey fan.
Hi, my name is Mrs. Wasileko. I teach grade 6 math and science, and I love my job.
Hi, my name is Mrs. Keith, and I am the grade 6G homeroom, and I teach math and science, and some of my favorite things are coaching basketball and volleyball and drinking coffee.
Hi, my name is Miss Kaminsky. I am the student support worker for the grade 6s. So anytime that you have some problems that you want to talk to, you can come to me. And after school, I love to go for long walks. We're looking forward to seeing you next year.
Hi guys, my name is Mr. Duick. I teach grade 6 LA and social studies. One of my favorite things to do in my spare time is to play basically any sport I can. Looking forward to seeing you guys in the fall.
I'm just.
All right, so now we'll take some questions. I know that was a lot of our staff from this year. There is going to be a couple people coming back from maternity leave, and a couple people will be a little bit different, but you can see that they've got a lot of energy, and we're love having kids at our school. So, Mr. Turnbull, do we have any questions that we can answer?
We've got 3 so far. So the first one says, perhaps a question for the masses, or I'm happy to email separately. As a family who has never qualified for busing until this year, how will we get information around how this is set up and what we need to do to ensure we have consistent transportation?
All right, Mr. Zelke, take that one.
Yeah, I work with the transportation coordinator, so we will get a list of students who qualify. From there, the first day of school, typically the students that qualify for busing, well, in the past, they would have been called down to the gym and would have gotten information about, bus passes and which bus they're going on, and all of that stuff would be handed out on the first day. Now what we did this year was I delivered all of the passes to all of the students on the first day of school. And so what the school board uses for software in terms of, and Southland, in terms of finding how far you live away from the school, it isn't Google Maps. It's actually another software, because Google Maps doesn't always use walking paths and things like that in the software to calculate it does use walking paths, but not the roads for the total distance. And so there is slight differences between Google Maps and the software they use. So typically, if you were to just Google Map your address to Wilson Middle School, it'll give you a rough estimate. That's not a confirmed thing, but if you live, let's say, 2.8 kilometers away from Wilson Middle School on Google Maps, that's probably, you would qualify for busing if you live on the north side, most likely. That being said, if it was like 2.38 kilometers, there are slight variations between their software and Google Maps. And so I can't 100% confirm that list until I receive it from transportation. But if you have any inquiries, just to be proactive, you can shoot me an email. My email address is located on the Wilson Middle School website. And if you send me your address, I can kind of look into that with the coordinators that I deal with and try to get an answer for you for the fall. That being said, we'll have more information on that week prior to school or so and be able to really communicate that out. So not sure exactly in terms of a timetable, but we will know more towards the end of August or so. So I hope that answered your question, but if not, please reach out to me on the Wilson Middle School website.
Okay, and our next question is about options. So it says, our teacher told us the other day that the kids would be choosing their options in class next week at Galbraith. So do we follow their instructions, or do we need to do it on Power School? And do logins from Power School transfer from Galbraith?
I'll take this one. So, yeah, the instructions that your teacher has at Galbraith, the teachers have, is how to do option selection through Power School. That is the only way to do it. They may have provided you with a booklet that has option descriptions. That's just for looking at, but the actual selection process will be through Power School. And if you have a parent account at Galbraith, that parent account will continue to work here at Wilson. So once you've set up that account, it should follow your student all the way through to grade 12.
Awesome. And then there's, what is the fee for grade 6 students? So Mr. Hawkins, that's probably you.
Yeah, that's that one's a little tricky. This year was $18. So we provide every single student with a t-shirt, and we have Life Touch comes in and we provide every single student with some ID cards that we use throughout the year and things like that. So it was pretty basic this year. If we move into a regular year, we did in term 3 have to add a $20 fee for options. And so normally it's about, I would say altogether with the options and everything for the entire year, if it's a regular year, probably around $65 to $70. The yearbook would then be $35. Most of our options are all consumables, and so they all cost. So if you're making something in shop, we don't get money from the government to pay for the consumable things. We get money for our capital, so we get money to pay for the machines, to fix the machines and things like that, but we don't get money for the wood and for the food that they eat and for the projects that they do. And so those things, the consumable things that you have to pay for. So you'll notice when you look at the options, every one of them that has a fee will have the fee associated with it. There are some options that don't have fees. And so you get to pick and choose what that looks like. But at the same time, we want to make sure that kids are getting what they want. Most fees will be between $5 and the most would be $20 for that. And our options are all 12 weeks. So it's not like you're going to have to pay an exorbitant amount of money. We try to make things as affordable as possible. So hopefully that helps.
I'm going to jump in real quick to go back to the busing question because I just thought of something as well. But whatever address was on your registration form will be the address that is sent to transportation, and they'll calculate the distance away from the school. This year it was 2.4 kilometers again. I haven't heard anything. I'm assuming it's going to stay the same. But if you do have a change of address over the summer months or something, if you can please let us know as soon as possible. We can update that, because in order for me to make any changes, I need to have that updated in Power School and then go from there. So just a heads up there, if you do have any moves or anything like that, just let us know as soon as possible.
Okay, so our next question says, when will we find out our teachers?
Okay, help you with that as well. So right now we don't even have staffing on the go as far as the division. We're usually almost done by now. I think they're about 35 days behind. So right now we're hoping to know by June. Once we do, I will send out an email to indicate who the grade 6 teachers are, but you won't know who your actual teacher is until we give you your timetable, which is usually right before the August long weekend there. Is it the August? No, it's this right before September long weekend. So.
But we actually are going to start school before the long weekend this year. So it'll be towards the last weekend in August. You'll be finding out. We'll open up the Power School portal and you'll be able to log in there. So that's another reason to have a Power School login. We'll open up that portal and you can go in and check out your timetable and find out who your teachers are.
And why is the school day ending early on Wednesday?
Great point. So we originally have been going till 2 o'clock, and our schedule has always been 11:58. You would have seen that on the original PowerPoint. This year they had to move with Southland coming into town. They moved our schedule to 12:26, 12:25 it says on the schedule. And so in middle school, all of the middle school are teaching about 1,800 hours, which is already probably 150 to 200 minutes more than the provincial, I guess, minutes that we're supposed to teach. So what they did is they gave us the opportunity. This year we took 4 days in lieu, and they didn't want to do that again. So they moved that 4 days in lieu to 1 p.m. instead of the 2 p.m. And so that aligns all middle schools to 1,780 minutes of instruction. Or is it hours, Jenny? I can't remember. I don't have it in front of me. I think it's minutes. And so with that, all middle schools are teaching pretty much the exact same amount and meeting still about 200 more minutes than the provincial expectations are. So hopefully that answers that question.
There's a few for Ms. Halowski here. So regarding picking options if you are in the school division, and then picking options if you are not in the school division. So if a student does not have Power School for Lethbridge School Division, how are they able to pick options?
So I'll address hopefully all the option and Power School questions here. So I did see there was one about previous Power School and School Cash Online accounts. So if you already are set up on Power School or School Cash Online, everything's going to transfer over to Wilson. You don't have to do anything different because your student has already been designated for Wilson for next year. So that's how we're able to have them now go into Power School and select options. So our feeder schools and our elementary schools that students are coming from within our division are really good, where they take the time to take kids into the computer lab at their school and allow the students to select options online there. As a parent, if you would like to check that out, what you would do is you would log into your parent portal on Power School and you would do that. Now, if you go to our web page, the Wilson Middle School web page, and you go to the parent link up at the top and you go down to the orientation information, under there you will see an area that says option selection. If you click on that, and then it says option selection instructions, there's a PowerPoint that will come up there. So you as a parent can go on with your student and we'll go into Power School, log in, select options, make sure you agree with them. Just make sure that no matter what you do at the end, you hit submit, or else everything else you have done along the way will be lost. We've also embedded in there all of the option descriptions as well as any fees included with any options. So I would encourage you, so Mr. Turnbull's got that coming up here, to check that out with your student and go through that process. So the information is all there. So it's just basically using the parent portal to log in. Now, if you don't have a Power School account here for our division, it's not a first come, first served thing for options. It doesn't mean if you get in May 3rd and select your options, you're going to get all the options you select. It's really important to note that when you are selecting options, you are not ranking options by your first choice through to your 6th choice. You are just selecting the 6 options you would like to be registered in next year. And so there is no ranking of options. So if your child doesn't go to one of our feeder schools, we do have some hard copies. So if you wanted to stop by and pick up a hard copy of our option booklets and then return that before May 14th, we can then enter that on our end for your student. So then when we roll over, that your student can have the options that they would like. We really do use our option selection process right now to drive some of the options we offer. So hopefully if there's more students interested in an option, we'll have more opportunity to provide that option and more class patterns of that so that more students can be enrolled in that option. So hopefully that answers the questions.
And then are there microwaves for students that wish to warm up their lunches?
All right, so you want that, Jenny, or you got that?
Sure, I'll take that one. This year, because of COVID, we have not had student microwaves. So we've always, if students are wanting a warm lunch, we encourage them to bring it in a thermos or something that it's already warm in, or to bring something that they're okay to eat cold. Just with COVID, we are not able to be using our microwaves this year.
And is there a certain age to play sports like basketball or volleyball? So Mr. Zelke?
We have no necessarily age limits or anything, or age restrictions. We do have like a senior team, JV or junior team. We have clubs, things like that. So it's usually pretty rare for, you know, a grade 6 student to come in and make a senior team, but it is, you know, possible. But then we also have the clubs, like I mentioned, and you know, lots of different opportunities for you to join some sort of sport, volleyball, basketball, etc., no matter what your age is next year. And so you'll have plenty of opportunities no matter what sport you want to participate in. That being said, we do follow, like I mentioned, the provincial guidelines and whatever as well. So, you know, as long as we're able to do sports, there will be lots of options.
And for Ms. Olowski, can you join 2 enrichment options at the same time?
So you can't be in 2 enrichments at the same time. So our enrichment options tend to, well, they do run in period 5, but they only run for 1 term. So you will have the opportunity to be in more than 1 enrichment option during the year. You will get 3 enrichment options during the year here at Wilson. So that will help, as well as you'll get 3 complementary options unless you are choosing band. If you choose band, you will get band, and band runs for the full year. So that's the only instance of where you would only get 1 complementary option, is if you choose band. I did see really quickly there was a question about if your student was in isolation. Yeah, I would encourage you to go to the website and follow the instructions and use the PowerSchool login, and then they can select their options. So if they're at home, it doesn't matter. They don't have to do option selection at their school. They can also do it at home. Anywhere you have a computer, you can get on and do your option selection.
And then I guess we'll stay with you for a second, Ms. Olowski, because there's a couple regarding when they'll get the school supply list, and then do they sign into PowerSchool using the last password? So the same password that they would have at their current school, I think is what it's being asked.
Okay, yeah, so if it's a parent password, if you're using your parent login, you would use what you currently have now. We are not resetting any login stuff. So whatever you have set up at your current school will work here at Wilson. So we do not reset anything. As far as students, it should still work if it's your student login. Again, we don't change those unless we absolutely have to. If it's you've tried and we have to just give you a new password, we can do that. So that would be the only reason why that would change. Supply list, you will find that out depending what we do. We do use the, if we're going to do the online option, we sometimes work with an online provider, and you may have done this at your school currently, where you can go on and purchase all of your supplies online, and then they're just delivered here to Wilson. So if you don't want to go out to any of our local stores and fight the madness of shopping for school supplies near the end of August, that's always an option. So we do have our supply list. We'll probably be up by the end of June. So you can check that out. But again, for sure, they'll get sent out in August if you need them at that time. So there'll be a good range here between June and August for you to check out your supply list. And I'll just,
sorry, Ms. Olowski, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I just saw there was a question about eating lunch in your homeroom because of COVID. Yes, because we stay in our cohorts here, you do eat lunch in your homeroom during COVID. So yes, so I just answered that.
And Mr. Zelke, how would transportation work for a student that has 1 parent living on the south side and 1 parent living on the north side?
That is a really good question. So first of all of our bus routes here at Wilson run on the north side. So for example, students that live in Uplands or Legacy or Black Wolf, you know, for the most part, all qualify for busing. That's sort of where our routes go. Unfortunately, our bus routes do not go to the south side of Lethbridge. And so, you know, I guess my advice for that one would be for the first address in PowerSchool. If it's every family is different, but let's say it's a week on at one parent's household and the next week at the other parent's household. You know, I would say put the first address in PowerSchool as that north side address, and hopefully it qualifies for busing for that 1 week. But unfortunately, for that week where the student is living on the south side, they wouldn't qualify for a school bus. And that would be the same, for example, at a different school. So a south side school with a parent on the north side and the south side, right? Just the way the bus routes work. So I hope that answered your question in regards to that.
And then is there soccer, a swim team, and track and field events? I think we'll leave it with Mr. Zelke on that one still.
Yeah, sure, all of the above. So there's been soccer clubs in the past. There's been swim clubs in the past, and track and field events. And in the past, there's definitely been some competitions, and I know we went to the U of L Stadium as well. So definitely an opportunity to go to different places throughout the city for track and field, as long as that's a go. In terms of specific clubs for next year, for example, swimming, that does depend on sort of the joint use agreement with, the city, or being able to book certain spaces, and obviously having the teachers to do so. In the past, we have offered swimming, and it would be awesome to do it in the future, but I can't 100% confirm it'll happen next year right now, but hopefully.
Mr. Hawkins, the last two so far for you here. One is, when is the first day of school? And then when using the cafeteria, do they pay through Power School since it's a cashless school, or how can students pay for things at the cafeteria?
You betcha. So the first day for students to come to school is August 31st. Like Ms. Halowski said, it's a different year this year. So usually we start after Labor Day. We're starting before. So that is a Tuesday, and that is August 31st. And you can pay online. Mr. Turnbull actually sets that all up. They're $25 cards, and you can pay online, and you can actually order online. And that's all done through the website. It's in the top right-hand corner, I believe, and it'll say order here. So you purchase your $25 card, and he's going to show you here. Lunch order, there we go. And you'll pick your lunch order, and you'll go down, and there's your gift card. So you can do that, or you can have kids can bring cash, and there's certain times through the morning when they'll be allowed to go down to the cafeteria. So there's a time for grade 6, 7, and 8 to purchase their lunch. And with COVID, you've got DoorDash, and the admin team DoorDashes their food to the appropriate classroom. So whether we deliver everything, so we don't have too many kids congregating in line on a regular basis. On a regular year, you could have, oh boy, 100 kids in line for the cafeteria. So this actually works pretty good. So I think we got a pretty good place. I know there was one question there that somebody asked if you can request teachers. We do not do that. We do not request homerooms. Kids, all of our teaching staff, our LA social, our math science teachers all work together. They plan together. Pretty much everything is taught at the same time. And so we make sure that we do that so that we don't get into those situations where people are trying to pick who they want. So that answers that question.
And then there's one that says, can this orientation be reviewed at a later date? So I will be downloading the presentation and posting it to the same webpage that you were able to find the link for the presentation on. So parents and orientation information.
And there's one more good question there, and it's about individual sports. And so those individual sports are, there are options that we offer right now. We just started offering options in term 3 this year because kids were working so hard, and we wanted to give kids the opportunity. So there is options available. A lot of the sports stuff is done in gym. And in gym, you'll see them doing some volleyball, you'll see them doing basketball, you'll see them doing all that sort of stuff. We did start to offer foods. We do have some shop. We do have some outdoor ed. And so they are getting those opportunities and those options that we are offering.
And there's one more question regarding lockers, and if we know if there will be lockers, and if there, how do you get your locker code if we do have lockers next year? So I think Ms. Halowski probably on that one, or Mr. Hawkins.
Yeah, well, I think I talked a little bit about we will not have lockers for term 1 as of right now. But when we do get lockers, that gives us about 6 weeks to 12 weeks to get things figured out. And they will get a lock from the school. That's part of one of the things I forgot. That's part of the school fee, is the lock does come with, and we have a key for all of those locks. And so that's a must. And so they'll get a 3-digit code, and they'll get 12 weeks, between 6 to 12 weeks to practice before they start using those lockers. So nothing to worry about as far as lockers for now. we'll slowly work our way into them. Okay.
And right now, that's all the questions so far.
All right, well, it's 7:38. I think we've taken up lots of your time, and we really appreciate everybody coming on. We will have, like Mr. Turnbull said, we will have this saved, and we will get this out. I can email it out to everybody tonight, and we can also place that on our website for anybody looking for it. So thank you very much. We look forward to seeing everybody. You never know, if things turn around here and we get Alberta vaccinated, we might be able to get some people into our school in June. That's the hope. Our fingers are crossed. But if not, we will try in August to get people in and get things rolling here. So thank you again for coming on tonight.